everything changes.
Life. Life.
I was fine when you held my hand. I was fine when you pulled me down. You said the stars would answer. You said our prayers were written down. I was fine when you pulled me in. We were forced to be human, and then the world came after, and I had never questioned it. And they said it was wrong. Started
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Hand of the Gods Weekly Cup. My name's Strixus, and I'm here with a Comcast employee, the good kind, and we're going to be watching Cabrix versus Singularity in our final quarterfinal matchup of the day.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for this matchup because generally, I guess, the past trends have been that just Bologna's been this massively strong pantheon. But as we've seen kind of meta change in the really with the past couple patches, I'm excited to see like the results of this match.
Absolutely. What do you think about this card Bombard that we see in Cabrix's hand? I know that Cabrix is a little bit of a new player. He recently got into this game, I believe, at DreamHack. What do you think about his choice to put Bombard in his list?
To be honest, I'm not a big fan because Roman just has so much spread wide elimination, so I don't really know why he put in a very particular. But obviously, Cabrix has got a reason. And I'm excited to see him use it. And oh my gosh, the Zambin synergy with the cats, that's pretty crazy right there.
Not only that, you do get to kill the turret with all of the cats too, so that's pretty nice. I really like that play overall. And now Cabrix is in kind of a weird position. He's actually just going to blink the Zaben Scout back to prevent damage from being pushed onto his stone. But Singularity, we talked about this list a little bit last week. Singularity won last week's tournament, and he's coming back. He ended up getting second in the community tournament run by the reserve yesterday as well with these zombie lists. This is a zombie raw list, and it's got a lot of synergy with cards like Zaben Scout and Carrier Behemoth, both of which are now on the field. Cabrix has got to be a little bit scared about this.
I mean, I haven't really seen a whole zombie raw. I'm really excited to watch this. But the thing that instantly comes to my attention is Khepri. A Khepri, Carrier Behemoth, Zambin combo is going to be insane if Singularity can pull it off. I'm not sure if he has it in his list, but I would assume he does.
Don't think he's running Khepris. I think it's just, you're kind of you're assuming you're trading off your zombies anyways, or your zombies are pushing face. Either way, they're going to be dying as long as you're not silenced. As long as your Carrier Behemoth's not silenced, you are going to get this incremental damage. And we do see here that Sing is going to get 2 damage in with these zombies. He's instead of playing out his Nakem Warrior, he is going to prevent Cabrix from controlling the draw with the Chaos Bond, which is a pretty fine play.
Silencing a Giannis is a very beneficial play because once your opponent has a Giannis on the field and they get the ball rolling, not only do they control what cards are drawn, but they also know what you get, so they can play around it and predict it. That's why Giannis is probably one of the strongest legendaries in the game, just because of the amount of control he gives. Playing the Sylvanas here, a fine play in and of itself. Sylvanas being such a strong, nearly unkillable card, and especially since Cabrix just saw Singularity already play a Chaos Spawn, but unfortunately, Singularity's got a second. Would you silence the Sylvanas here?
I don't know. So you could Chaos Spawn the Sylvanas and play a Bastet, which does further your plan of Zaben Scout Carrier Behemoth, because Bastet by itself is up to 8 minions and 8 damage to stone. At least, at the very minimum, if both Zaben Scout and Carrier Behemoth hit their full potential with it. You could also just play the War Behemoth or the Nakem Warrior. Nakem Warrior gets to draw you extra cards when these zombies up front inevitably die. And there's a lot of options for Sing this turn. I don't think that Chaos Spawn Bastet is the for sure best play. I do like the Nakem Warrior, though, because he does get to refill his hand at this point, and his positioning is very defensive while also putting out a very offensive combo.
Exactly, yeah. Playing the Nakem here, now I always warn all the patrons on my stream, Nakem can be a bit dangerous even for yourself at sometimes, because you can cause overdrawing really easily here. However, I don't think we'll be seeing that in Singularity's case. So if you're Cabrix, what do you play here, Sirixis?
Okay, so you do have the mana to Chaofeng Rain of Arrows. Playing Chaofeng also turns on Bombard, which is okay. I would not push my Sylvanas forward, because that at this point in the game does not do much of anything that's helpful. I mean, with your Giannis silenced, you could have your Sylvanas attack the front zombie, move your Giannis forward, and kill the Chaos Spawn, and then set up for a Fire Giant turn. But it looks like he's going to go for the Bombard on the Nakam Warrior, which is fine. It does produce another zombie. But at the same time, you do prevent this card draw from coming out. Singularity needs to be able to refill his hand with this list, and... Ooh, I'm not No, I feel like Giannis should have attacked the bottommost zombie, and Sylvan, like, neither of them needed to move.
Yeah, I mean, especially when your Giannis is silenced, I would be a lot more liberal with keeping him like conserved. Like I would just like send him out. Use a 3/5 with ranged. Use Sylvan. I mean, my bad. Use the Giannis. Like play him here, but ooh, drawing Mercenary here. Is Singularity gonna like what Bastet into Mercenary possibly?
So Bastet doesn't inherently do anything unless you can, like, Bastet, you could do the same thing if you wanted to with Bastet with the War Behemoth, because right now Bastet only produces one minion. I think there's a possibility Singularity tries to go for a kill with Anubis onto this Sylvanas this turn if he has the damage. Okay, he also might just Chaos Spawn the Sylvanas this turn, and I think he should have the damage to kill it. With just whatever he has on the board.
There comes
yeah, Mercenary should be able to one-shot this now. It's actually a 6/6, so it's actually also out of range of dying to Sylvanas, which is really nice. And Singularity, I mean, sometimes your combo plan is just plan B. He's just pushing face at this point.
Exactly, and it's like, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess the heal was fine there because he had nothing else to do, but Cabrings, like this is kind of a scary board for Cabrings here because just Singularity has a Carrier Behemoth, and this is what I've said before. The Carrier Behemoth is, in my opinion, one of the strongest cards in the game currently because you can't kill it, and you don't want to invest all this elimination in a 1/8. It's not like innately a ton of value. But just in this setup, it's put in so much, like just so much work. And I think that's is a big factor right here. It's just the question is how will Cabrinks get rid of this or silence this or just deal with this Carrier Behemoth?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Just because he doesn't have any answers in hand right now. Carrier Behemoth is one of the top silence targets in this deck. If you silence the Carrier Behemoth, it removes the entire combo plan from the game, and it forces your opponent to play a fair game. Fair is probably, if you've played other card games as well, fair is like it's just not combo-y. It's just a very straightforward style of play. What Singularity is trying to do is play differently. Normally, how you play this game is you push 25 damage onto the stone with your creatures. What Singularity is doing is letting his creatures die, and that inherently just grinds down Cabrix's stone. But Cabrix has like a very solid game plan as long as he can last out 13 more damage from this Carrier Behemoth.
I mean, yeah, that's the way it is, and I think almost in this exact matchup, Cabrix v Singularity, we almost see like what I like to call like the new versus the old, or I guess the old of just playing a bunch of good quality cards, which is on the Cabrix's side, and Singularity having this innate, interesting strategy that he's trying to pull off. And both of those have their pros and cons, and I think will be interesting is to see which comes out on top.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Singularity win with these lists last week, which is, I mean, impressive. He brought 3 zombie lists last week, and I mean, if you can win with 3 of your 4 decks being basically different variations of the exact same combination, hats off to you, man. I love this play. Rooting the Fire Giant allows you to get lethal on it next turn. You get to trade more damage into the already aggressively placed Fire Imps. This is just overall a very fantastic turn for Singularity. He gets to push 3 damage into the stone and also trade off the Fire Giant next turn. This is just great.
It's just insane to see all this Carrier Behemoth and Zombie synergy. It's like, oh my gosh, down to 10 health. And here's the funny part. We haven't really seen any big honking minions out of Singularity's part. We've just seen a bunch of small ones. And it's almost like this like together they're so strong with all of these zombies, and that's exactly what's happening here. Kabrinks can blink Fire Giant forward, killing the Goobus,
Yes.
but at that point, like you gotta be scared because you're at 10 health, you're at 9 health after you kill the Goobus, and you have nothing on board. You have to get rid of this carrier behemoth, otherwise you're just gonna he's just gonna play zombies, and by you trying to survive, you're gonna deal more damage to yourself.
I like this play though. The Terra gets to come out and stun the Anubis, which means that Fire Giant is Fire Giant's not gonna die next turn unless Singularity has something in hand to kill it. He's still hanging on, but another actual problem with Fire Giant on this stone is that he has to position properly so that Cleave doesn't actually end up hurting him more than it helps him. He does still have a 5-turn clock with just the Fire Giant on this stone. Obviously, Terra and Chaofeng push a lot more, but okay, Surtur does end up killing Fire Giant. But yeah, Cleave, like Singularity could almost just let Cleave happen as long as he's able to prevent some other things from going on and just win that way. But I agree, killing the Fire Giant is less risky, but it would have been interesting to see that style of play occur.
Exactly, yeah. So if you're Cabrix, what do you do here? Because you're kind of in a bad situation because the more units you kill to get and progress and survive, that's a pretty big important draw.
Yeah.
The more damage you're taking, it's a very difficult strat to overcome, and he needs to kill his carrier behemoth. Like, I don't even want to know how much damage his carrier behemoth's put into the summoning stone.
Yeah. Well, you have 12 damage on board, and I think you have to run all of it into the stone. I don't think killing the carrier. I think you have a 2-turn clock on board right now. I think this is probably your best bet. Like,
I
Terra
mean,
can't
we know
reach the carrier behemoth.
Singularity is lethal though. He's lethal, hands down. With Annihilation.
Yeah, that's true. So you have to kill the carrier behemoth. So wait, so if you kill carrier behemoth with the 1/1s, so you can't blink the Terra in range though. You have to use Chaofeng Giannis, and then Rain of Arrows.
Rain of Arrows, boom.
Yeah, and then your Terra
That'll
pushes
do it.
stone. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you can play another
and then-
Chaofeng, but that might be overextending.
Honestly, I mean, as long as it kills his carrier behemoth, Singularity can possibly pull off the win. Oh, okay.
No,
Not
you have.
pushing stone.
Yeah, Terra can't reach the carrier
he's
behemoth.
trying to get within range of the
Yeah,
Rain of
he was
Arrows.
trying to see if the Terra could stop it, but I think he's forced to Rain of Arrows here. The unfortunate position with the Rain of Arrows is that Terra is going to take 2 damage too, unless he positions like this, which
Ooh.
I don't know. Like, you're so low. This is really
You're
nice
so
though.
low, and you know your opponent's gonna be running some charge.
Oh, he's going to actually double Rain of Arrows just to
Double
kill off everything. 2 zombies are spawned, but in the end, that's not terrible. That's a lot of damage drawn, though. Actually, there is lethal because Singularity runs Magma Slams.
Yep, indeed. Well, that was a really good game.
Yep.
Congrats to Singularity for winning that. Yeah. I mean, I think it was really, the game goes to Carrier Behemoth, honestly.
Yes.
Just that card putting in so much work, and but it's the best type of work. It's the silent work. It's the work that you don't say, oh, this is an 8/8 I have to kill. No, it's a 1/8. So you don't want to, and that's actually the same reasoning that I like to see Nankum Warriors, because you don't want to kill it. Like, you don't want to waste your you don't want to waste your elimination on it. But then again, it's going to put in so much work on you that you will end up dying from it, and that's what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons that Bologna's fallen a little bit, is because, especially against these zombies list, you don't have hard removal in Bologna. Your best removal cards are AoE damage, but nothing in your deck screams hard removal like a Decay does, like an Execute does, like a Deicide does. You don't have these cards that just say, remove target unit from the board. And with stuff as tanky as Carrier Behemoth and Cabrix not necessarily drawing some of the best cards in his deck, you know, missing his Dishonorables, missing his Bludgeons potentially, if he's running them, which I feel like he should, it just ends up being a net loss for him, and Singularity was able to just outlast him and take the win. That means Singularity's up 1-0. If he wins one more, he advances to the semifinals match against I Chang. If Cabrix wins, he forces a game 3. We'll be bringing you back into game 2 in just a minute to see how that plays out.
Paranoid, you claim this love that you never started. You once destroyed a broken heart that was already shattered. Holding on to what we have, you take us to the edge and back. Holding on to what we have, you take us to the edge and back.
Welcome back, everybody. We're back here for Game 2 of our quarterfinals matchup, Singularity versus Cabrix. My name's still Strixus. I'm still here with Comcast, and we're bringing you a Nuwa versus Bologna matchup. Now, Nuwa gotten a little bit more spot in the limelight recently.
Exactly. Now I'm gonna check right here. He is running 2 Zonquis. Now
Yes.
I personally, like, if anybody knows me knows that I'm not. I think Zonqui's all right. I want Singularity prove to me that Zonqui is a strong card. Because, like, I get it. I think he's quality. I just don't think he's at the level of insane. So what do you think, Strixus?
Yeah. I think that Zhonghui has a lot of potential, and he is a must answer in many situations. And we saw that earlier in one of the games off air, where Zhonghui just was going to go away with the game, but the opponent of the Zhonghui was just able to kill it immediately. and Zhang Kui got no value. But Singularity did end up winning that game. That was actually Singularity. He ended up using both his Demon Bags on an Imperial Guard for lethal. 0 damage Demon Bags. I mean, Zhang Kui has a lot of potential overall, and we've seen that potential where it's gotten 20 damage plus Demon Bags, but we've also seen 0 damage Demon Bags, so it's really swingy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what makes Zhang Kui interesting is because, I mean, in this case, Singularity, if he really wants to, he can play Zhang Kui, and make a fantastic bludgeon bait. Really, just because of how scary he is. But Zhang Kui almost reminds me of Imp Archer, where you really have to value, can I leave this card alive, or can I not? You have to choose, and if you're staying decisive, then you're going to end up wasting elimination and losing the game.
Where we're going to have to see how Singularity decides to play around this Zhang Kui, because he just drew it. So that's a top tech fat man. Gonna see how he paints out this board state. I like not playing into the since you don't have deck list, I like not playing into the Mana Potion Bludgeon. I think that's your best line right here, is not getting completely destroyed on turn 4.
I think Singularity is trying to position his Imp Guard in a way that even with a blink, the Verno Cannon won't get, or like Inferno Cannon will be able to hit the guard, as well as he'll be able to spell and kill the cannon next turn. I think that's what he's trying to do here.
Yeah, so the only place that he can put it is at the very top square above the stone. And if the cannon is blinked forward, then Imp Guard can reach it, but if it's not blinked forward, he can't. I think he's okay with it taking 2 damage because Imp Guard does have Pardon. When you play at least one spell, it does not take return damage. So this is fine overall, as long as there's not specific clear in Cabrix's hand. But we do see, I mean, there is a lot of clear in Cabrix's hand, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, so there's a couple of options. We could see the coin out into the Herc, into the pull, into the killing. I think that's what he may be doing.
Yep, that looks like to be the play. Hercules gonna come down, and Imp Guard or Zhang Kui? That's the question. He's going for the Imp Guard. I'm not sure about that.
I see why he did it.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure I like it, because now already Demon Bag is worth a single damage, and leaving this card online is just going to cause a whole bunch of issues.
The only thing, I think, the only reason you wouldn't do that is both your cannons do fall to 1, so they're both in single Crescent Blade range of dying, which definitely hurts a little bit. But killing the Zhang Kui is so valuable. Like you said, Demon Bag, it's already worth 1. There's potential with the Zhang Kui getting moved up. Cabrix needs to have a lot of movement for the Zhang Kui to be worth more than that. And now, unless Cabrix has a silence, which I think he's only got 1 silence effect in this entire deck, he's got to deal 2 instances of damage to the War Behemoth, which is 2 cards for Singularity.
Yeah, that's insane. It's just, I think it was a possible misplay on Cabrix's part. But that being said, though, you got to work with what you're given. So I think the play could be a Merc into a Herc trade, but even then, right? I guess Herc and then the Merc.
I don't know if I like the Mercury before making sure that, like, because each punch of Mercury is 1 instance of damage. Just for people who are new to War Behemoth as a whole, it hurts a lot when you force your opponent, when you let your opponent draw 3 cards from Mercury, because all 3 just happen to hit the War Behemoth.
Yeah, so I think I know what he's gonna do. Run Herc into the War Behemoth, right?
Yes.
Merc that, and then go for the Bombard and clear board. That's what I mean. But then again, he's also giving Demon Bag more damage. I think that's what probably Singularity's debating. Ooh. And no, he's gonna go straight for the Bombard, and then he's gonna. Okay, well, I guess the same way.
Yeah, Merc does still likely get to clear the War Behemoth. Singularity does still draw 3 cards by the end of his next draw step, but Cabrix has a much better board state overall, and Singularity's actually at 10 cards in hand, I believe, which makes this a little bit more difficult for him. No, he's at 9 cards, I apologize. I thought he was about to overdraw. If the Mercury had played first, then Singularity was going to be at 10, but Singularity still does have a lot of things to work with, but this Habwa is not great. The Imperial Guard's only okay. Second War Behemoth doesn't do a whole lot. And Sun Wukong, Singularity doesn't have a great play this turn, I don't think.
Because if you play the War Behemoth, you're risking Overdraw, and Overdraw
Right.
is very dangerous.
Yep.
Especially because, and the game currently, it does not tell you what cards you discard, so you don't know.
Right.
If you could Overdraw and then you discard one of the crucial cards that you just don't know that you lost. That also being said, I think you just have to go for the Hou Yi here, maybe. And then, like, oh, okay, or the Habwa I guess works as well, and then he's gonna. I don't know. Like this is one of these sticky situations where I describe there's really no good play here. Anything that Singularity does is all right, but it's not like that pinnacle of what you want.
Sylvanas is going to come down this turn now for Cabrix, and Sylvanas does a lot of things, and it does them very well. Survivability, damage, reasonable amount of tankiness, inherently before its survivability in the respawn effect. Sylvanas does pretty okay against Nuwa just because it does have an effective 7 health for you to kind of clear. So it looks like Cabrix is going to think the better of it in this instance. And the other thing about Venus coming down is this Habwa is now locked if this Venus does come down, as long as it stays on the field. But Singularity does have a Crescent Blade in hand, and the Imperial Guard could trade into it for free if Cabrix isn't careful with this placement.
Yeah, I think in this case, Cabrix actually has quite a bit of plays. Like, we could even see the Giannis, because Giannis at this point, like, the board is relatively contested. You could try to bait out a Dragon King or Dragon King, I believe.
Yeah.
No, I guess, well, it doesn't matter anymore, because we're going to see the Sylvanas come out, which is a very clean play in and of itself.
Yeah. There's Singularity's first silence effect. Chaos Spawn, probably good to just come out on the Sylvanas because, you know, if you do draw your Dragon King, it does get to run face. The Demon Bag only does 1, which is rather unfortunate for Singularity, but that's how you play around Zhonghui. You kill it.
Exactly.
And you kill it dead, and then the fat man won't sing.
All jokes aside, though, that's why I try to preach is that while Zhonghui is a very pinnacle and a very strong card, you just kill it and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. The only time it could be extremely unpredictable is if your opponent plays it and then plays like Rushing Thunder onto a Mayan or Odin deck, and then you could see a massive burst come out of Demon Bag. But for the most part, it's not immediately worryable. So do you play the Sun Wukong maybe here, Double Movement, and then maybe Crescent Blade for the
Crescent Blade, the Sylvanas. Yeah, for the Guard.
Oh, never mind.
I don't think that's a bad play. And that was my initial reaction when I saw this card in hand. But I think this is fine overall. It's a little bit of a weird positioning this Sitter is in because you're not really worried about where you are on board. If you're Cabrix, like the Sitter just kind of does nothing at the moment. Blade Master, a fantastic draw for Cabrix 2. Now you could potentially even kill the Surtur this turn, or run 4 damage face. Again, Cabrix just has so many plays, and this is one of the reasons that Bologna is still so good. Is even though Cabrix doesn't have all of the strongest clear cards in hand, he still has so many options, and option select is a very fantastic thing to have in card games.
Indeed, like that's exactly right here. Especially because playing Sylvanas first, while he did get a silenced, I guess 5/4 with range. Now he can play the Giannis, he can play the Venus, and we know that Singularity's not going to be able to deal with those cards effectively. See, I guess currently the board looks pretty contested, but I would say the game's looking like it's bring Cabrix's favor. So we are going to go ahead and see the Venus here. I think that's a fine play, especially because now you lock down Habwa, and you pretty much wipe board, which is really, really pinnacle for Cabrix to do.
Yeah, the Surtur is not going to be able to do anything. Here's Singularity's Carrier Behemoth, and we were talking about this off-air in between games. Carrier Behemoth in a deck that doesn't run a lot of little minions is a little questionable, but if you look at the leftmost card in Singularity's hand, that is a Transfusion. Transfusion is a card we haven't seen a lot recently. but it does make Carrier Behemoth a 6-mana 8/8. But how worth is that? It's a melee unit. You're still against Sylvanas. You're still against a Venus. Like, Cabrix has a lot of ranged units in his deck, as well as Chowfangs. An 8/8 Carrier Behemoth is not going to do much of anything. Transfusion feels a little bit more like a dead card in this matchup.
I think you're exactly right. What maybe Singularity was trying to do is like I've crafted and played around with this concept is he was trying to get Carrier Behemoth before or like I guess not this late in the game where it's much more doable with. But in this case, if he does play Carrier, like it's just gonna die in the first place. There's really nothing to do. We're gonna play the Civil Kong here. Movement's not gonna matter at all because Habwa's dead and the Suitor's gonna I guess live. Wow, this is just a. So he's gonna go ahead and transfusion. Okay, I did not see that play out. I'll give him that. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Because now Mercury dies too. Oh.
Whoa. Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Interesting. I guess putting him in Crescent Blade, putting the Sylvanas in Crescent Blade range is a little more important than killing the Mercury, but
I see that.
Sure, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Like, you could, even if Cabrix didn't have something to clear the Surtur this turn, you can still, like, blink the Surtur out of the way and just push more damage face. But Cabrix has a very clean way of dealing with this Surtur, as well as more face damage coming out in terms of, like, with this Blade Master potentially even being in play.
Honestly, if he kills Sun Wukong, Singularity is up against a wall, and that's exactly what he's gonna do. And then because now we can play a Chao Feng, you can play a Giannis.
I think you play the Giannis here.
I'd probably play the Giannis here as well. And I think it's gonna, that's some Chao Feng, or that could be a Giannis.
Yeah, this is the Giannis. The Giannis is the hover right now. There it is.
There you go.
The man of 1,000 portals coming down himself, and I think Singularity is just in a rough position because I don't know. You play Giannis when you're, like you said, the board's contested or you're ahead on board, so that you can decide what you get and what your opponent gets. You don't know what's in their hand, but you know what they draw for as long as Giannis's ability is active. And
here's the scariest thing, though. Singularity hasn't drawn his Dragon King yet. Or Dragon, I always get those confused.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Cabrix
Giannis could just snatch it up immediately.
That's disgusting. There's also a Guan Yu in this list, I believe. Like, I would be shocked if there wasn't a Guan Yu in Singularity's list.
It kind of has to be, honestly.
Yeah, so like you could even grab your opponent's Guan Yu, and Bologna runs a significant number of spells. Like, why not? The first choice is here, and it's Fire Giant versus Surtur. Well, I know what Cabrix is taking.
Yeah, I mean that one's a given. But for a minute, I thought it was Wait, that was his own Fire Giant, correct?
That was his own Fire Giant, yes.
Okay, for a minute I thought that was a Singularity's.
No, that would have been even stronger if it was.
I mean, honestly, I would say, actually, I won't say this now, but it's still possible. This is pretty much Singularity's, I mean, Cabrix's game to lose. But wait a minute, though. It's important to mention that whenever there's card draw on the field, Giannis can't predict that, and that's a really important thing.
Well, he does know that Singularity drew the Surtur.
Yeah.
But there are two cards now in Singularity's hand that Cabrix doesn't know. They are Chaos Bond and Projection. Neither of them is fantastic right here. Chaos Bond does get to silence the Giannis, potentially.
Yeoman option.
It looks like he's covering the Alquang, which means this is just going to be Alquang Projection onto the Giannis, which I think is a cleaner kill. You get to also Crescent Blade the Blade Master, and now you've basically re-wiped the board in return. That projection that Cabrix didn't know was in hand actually ended up swinging the board state pretty heavily in Singularity's favor.
Yeah, you're definitely right here. And while that was also unfortunate, I think the counterplay options around War Behemoth could have just been to let it be and not kill it, and you could just push face damage. Yeah, pushed face damage here. And now, like, the flip of a coin sometimes is all it takes. Because now it looks like Cabrix is on his back leg here. Because while he has answers, they're not all that great. I guess he could try to smork it here. But I don't think I would do that either, though.
You can't. I mean, pushing 6 face damage is not terrible. Singularity doesn't have many clean ways of dealing with a fire giant or a second blade master. Both of them have immediate effects when they come out on the field. So Habwa's not immediately a fantastic option. Fire Giant's going to be the draw, the play for Cabrix. So this is going to be 4 more damage push face, which is fine. And that happens to me all the time. Like you see the little Fire Giant hover and it's clicked on the wrong imp and you almost misposition one of your imps because of that. But Cabrix was able to push the damage successfully. And now Singularity's in again, just a little bit of a weird spot because he doesn't have any clean
A weird
answers.
spot, yes. But I would say it looks like a good spot, though, because he just drew the Zongqi, and we
Sure.
know he's got some spells that he can probably play with around. So, I mean, while the Fire Giant is scary, and he can come out and silence it as well, I mean, wait, you play the Zongqi, and then you spell...
You Crescent
Spell
Blade, the
Alquang.
2 Fire Imps. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
that works. And then already, especially with the Alquang, that's like, it was like 5 damage?
This was a misposition by Singularity, I think. If this Chaos Spawn... Oh, no, it's... I keep...
Ooh.
The Fire Giant is silenced. I was thinking incorrectly. If the Fire Giant wasn't silenced, this would be a nasty cleave, but it is. So, Cabrix still has a fine turn right now. You can kill many different things. Blade Master could trade out onto the Alquang or the Chaos Spawn. Fire Giant can trade out into the other one. I actually like playing Blade Master to kill the Chaos Spawn and then running Fire Giant into the Zhong. Or you can run Blade Master into the Zhong. That's fine too.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
Cabrix,
that's
no,
unfortunate,
don't do it.
but that's
Don't
what you
do
gotta
it.
do. I think that's what you have gotta do.
Okay, so he's not going to use the Blade Master. I thought he was going to attempt the cleave, forgetting that his Fire Giant was silenced. I mean, I guess it kind of doesn't matter whether your Fire Giant or your Blade Master kills the Zhong. I guess he wants the Fire Giant, since it's got more power, to have more health on it, which is
Exactly,
fine.
yeah.
And now
I
there's the
think-
second Demon Bag
yeah.
gone.
No, it's there. It's there.
Oh,
It's
well, I
just
mean,
there.
it's gone, but it did get, it does have 3 damage on it. The other one has 4. So they're
7
not
damage
dead
each one.
cards. They're not dead cards, but they don't feel as good as they could be.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something where it's like, I mean, hey, two mana for 3 damage and 2 mana for 4 damage is quality, especially. I'm assuming he may be rocking the second Alquang, and he could play around that and deal even more damage, up to 9 damage. But
Well, you just
So,
push the
we-
4 damage Demon Bag. You push the 4 damage Demon Bag into the Fire Giant and kill it with
Yeah.
the Chaos Spawn, and you push the 3 damage Demon Bag into the Blade Master, I think. Yeah, that looks like
Yeah.
Singularity's play here.
I believe that's his play exactly as well, unless does he okay, yeah, yep. A pretty I guess fairly clean play. That's the way it's gotta be. Gonna actually, like, I mean, while Singularity does have board controls not complete, and then here we see Cabrix's beautiful hand with the Sylvanas, with the Baboon, with the Herc, with the Chao Fang. What do you play here? Do you go for the potentially greedy? I see thing of potentially greedy Sylvanas into Chao Fang, or what would you have done?
Oh, you have to go for the Sylvanas this turn. Whatever else you do, you go for the Sylvanas this turn. It's a 3-turn clock in and of itself. Very difficult to kill for Chinese. I think you definitely go for it. Although, Singularity does have a way
I mean,
to kill it.
what I'm saying is he could have played. Yeah, he could have played around Dragon King. I mean, I was like throwing out options there because
Yeah.
now if he Crescent Blades and then Dragon Kings, I believe the 2 applications of damage will in fact kill Sylvanas, if I'm correct.
Right. So what I think the better play though here is now you get to play
Oh.
the Surtur. You get to play the Surtur and run your Carry Behemoth and
works.
Surtur into the flower, and that's a little bit cleaner than Dragon Kinging the stone, while getting a little bit more damage onto the stone as well. And it's not a good race. It's not a clean race, but it can be a race for Singularity potentially.
Exactly. So yeah, gonna go ahead and kill Sylvanas here. If not, I mean that's what you gotta do. Sylvanas is just a too frustrating of a card if you leave it up. That being said, though, having the Chao Fang sitting there nice and healthy, even though he did get nerfed for I guess 2 consecutive patches, he's still a very quality card because he's gonna take 0 return damage.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's a good card.
Herc into Chao Feng can kill the suitor if he needs it.
Sure. I almost like the baboon a little bit more. The baboon might be my play just because now Singularity's game plan is pushing face. And the baboon prevents face pushing from happening. I guess like getting the Surtur off the board does something similar. But I mean, even now, Singularity's basically got to draw his second transfusion or he's dead.
I would say, yeah, that's a very accurate assessment. I'm kind of interested why Cabrix didn't blink his turret up a couple spaces to get even more face damage, because now he'll spend that mana this turn. So we're gonna see the projection here, I guess. Yeah, projection Crescent Blade killing the
Chao
Chao
Feng?
Feng. Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
okay.
This is one of the
you
problems
have
with
to.
you do have to. This is one of the problems with projection at the moment is that projection is a great card. Sometimes when you can hit even a middle health or a middle attack minion, projection's fantastic. But when your highest attack minion on the board is 2 damage, projection is just a 3 mana deal 2, and that's not a good that's just objectively not a good card.
Yeah, no, hands down, you're exactly right. I mean, okay.
So he's
How
going
is
to double
he-
Crescent Blade the Hercules and run into it with the Carrier Behemoth.
I mean, I think actually, I would say that's probably the play as well. I mean, Carrier Behemoth, that means
Let's not call attention.
Carrier Behemoth will die next turn. I mean, I guess that's fine. So he's giving up on the whole second transfusion, but I mean, oof, this is pretty brutal, especially if you want Serene. Like the point is, Cabrix has got ways to deal with the board, and that's pretty spooky.
Yeah, Rain. You could even move your Chao Feng back. Like, you're not in a rush to win this game.
Yeah, see, that's what I would do because like, I mean, in Cabrix's case, he should know that he's ahead. Even with a Guan Yu, what is he gonna do with a single spell, possibly 2 spells, I guess, or
This is cute,
or
too.
possibly 3 spells. Oh, no, it'd only be 2 spells. My bad. But it's he knows that he's in the lead, so he should take it here. He needs to push and end this game before something bad possibly happens. Okay.
Little bit
It'll take a
weird.
bit of extra damage, I think, but.
Yeah, I mean, the turret took 1 extra damage, but now the Mercury gets a much higher chance of hitting the Holy, and there
Exactly,
it is. And now this is a very, very fast clock that Cabrix has, and Singularity's got nothing.
You gotta hobwa the Chao Feng, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
you
the
have
only
to.
play I can think of. Because you don't want to hobwa Merc, and hobwing a turret is not gonna be impactful enough.
Yeah.
Here, okay. Carry
mean,
Behemoth,
that's-
I guess, again.
That's what Singularity did to start the game, was hobwa a turret, but it ended up like just. I mean, hobwing a turret just doesn't feel good because you're using 3 mana to only get so much value on the board. It feels like you would rather save your hobwas, but sometimes you do need to get them off on curve, and that can just be really rough.
So, do you, Cyrixus, do
Yeah.
you use the turret to kill the hobwa here, or do you swark
Yes.
it?
You definitely use the turret to kill the hobwa. Again, you don't need to risk anything.
Yeah.
Go for these safe plays. Absolutely you blink the turret, play probably both Chao Fangs at
Yep,
this point,
that's what I would say.
and kill the hobwa. No, I am a very aggressive player by nature. I would like my dream would be to just do something like that, just to push damage in that nature. Oh, this is disgusting though. Guan Yu finally shows his face.
Our deed shall be
He has
Singularity
2 spells, so I think he can kill.
Kill both Chao Fangs.
Yeah.
And the Mercury, because you run your Carrier
better
Behemoth
to
into
keep
it.
a low profile.
And this is where I've said I still believe Guan Yu is. I think he's the strongest card in the game because look, he just completely changed the board state with a Guan Yu. That's it.
Yeah,
It's insane though.
very good, but Singularity's
Who cares
got
about that
3
when you
damage a
got a
turn.
Terra?
3
with
damage
me?
a turn on board. And yeah, like you said, you have a Terra, in which you can blink around stuff. Like, Terra is
Yeah.
not going to be able to be body blocked. You can't body block this Terra unless you draw. You just can't body block the Terra. You have to draw 2 minions. You got 0 cards in hand with your Sing. This is a very easy final turn for Cabrix next turn.
This should be. And then the Hou-Yi adding, like, not adding anything to the table, honestly. So right here, we're going to see Hou-Yi just being placed, the good games coming out, you know. I mean, it's also very
Let's not call
long and
attention to
lengthy and almost like an epic journey scenario with Singularity versus Cabrix. Just the fact is, Cabrix was able to out-sustain, you know? Or, that's not sustain, he was able to outlast, honestly, Singularities. That's what Roman can do so well, is you have these insanely just bulky and beefy and strong minions, and that's exactly what happened. But GG nonetheless. That was Sirixis. Where did Singularity go wrong?
I don't think he went wrong anywhere. I just think that there are 2 decks right now that can match up into Nuwa pretty okay. One of them's Greek, and Greek has historically matched up pretty okay into Nuwa, and the other one's Roman.
Yeah.
And even though Roman's been around for less time, Roman has also been able to match up pretty okay into Chinese as well. I think that was just Cabrix drawing well, playing his cards mostly right, and Singularity just not really having an answer to the sheer amount of CC and clear that Cabrix was able to bring to the table. I also just don't like the carry behemoths, and like I just don't like them at all. But that's going to be it for our game 2. Singularity is going to have to try to win one more if he wants to try to make a run back of last week's tournament and make it back to the finals, or he could get knocked out at 5th to Cabrix, who is an up-and-comer.
Let's not call attention.
Hello,
to
everybody, and welcome back for Game 3 of our semifinal or quarterfinals, I should say, matchup: Singularity versus Cabrix. And we've got our Nuwa Mirror classic matchup this last patch happening right on screen for you guys. So if you guys want to learn more about Nuwa, this is going to be the game to do it. My name's Strixus. I'm here with Comcast. How do you like these opening hands, Comcast?
I mean, the Hou-Yi is one of my favorite cards. I think its effect is super cool, and I mean, it's very strong, especially when you're approaching the Summoning Stone and when you're like playing slightly aggressive. In this case, we're gonna see Cabrix's Imp Guard being coined out, which is a very fine play because he's such a tanky minion at 2/4 for 3 mana. What I'm interested in this game is I want to see Singularity pull off the Transfusion Carrier Behemoth, because I think that's the entirety of why Carrier Behemoth is in Singularity's deck, because it just doesn't, like, as you saw last game, it really wasn't impactful in any way, shape, or form last game.
Yeah,
with its standard effect.
it just doesn't do anything when you're not running cards that give your other stuff more stuff. You know, you need to have units on the board for Carrier Behemoth to actually be effectual, and Nuwa just doesn't have that inherently compared to some other minions. I like this projection almost, except projection takes the power before the spell is cast, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't kill the Hou-Yi, which is a little unfortunate if Cabrix tries to position. I think he needs to move the Imp Guard up one and maybe even play the second Imp Guard this turn and hope for the best in terms of that. Or he could... I don't think you move it back, though. Like, that just seems too defensive.
I think the point is, okay.
I like this
All
play.
right. That works as well. That works just as well. Ooh, so in this case, very different from last game, both Singularity and Cabrix have their big boys in hand. They've got the Sun
Yep.
Wukong, or I guess at least Singularity's got Sun Wukong, and they both got Guan Yus. I think it's gonna come down to whoever plays their Guan Yu second is gonna really take the board, because Guan Yu on Guan Yu is much better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of the same thing. It was when Guan Yu was first released in this board state, in this state, we kind of talked about it in the same way we talk about Blight more recently. The last Guan Yu standing wins kind of deal, just like the second Blight wins in the Mayan mirror. If you can get a Guan Yu out and stick it to the board, I don't think either of these guys are running spell immunity necessarily, but if you can get a Guan Yu out and stick it to the board, allow it to survive, then you're in a very good position, even in the mirror, where things can be a little tankier.
Yes, I mean, no disagreements there. Definitely concerning Guan Yu. So is the play actually? What's the play?
Chang'e, I
Because he
think.
didn't take a spell, so he can't really projection.
I think you play Chang'e here. Chang'e brings your Crescent Blades back down to 0 mana. Your Rushing Thunder is 1 mana. Your projection's 2. I think that Chang'e is fantastic here. You're kind of sitting in a stalemate based on the board positioning of Singularity if you're Cabrix, and I mean, you're not in a bad spot by any means. And Chang'e just furthers your board positioning at the moment.
Yep. Again, no disagreements there. Chang'e being a 1/4 means she's fairly tanky for a 4-drop, but at the same time, she still has the ability to be so impactful. We're gonna see the War Behemoth come out, and we see like War Behemoth has had so much play, primarily because it's independent card draw. Unlike Nankum, unlike even Args, it's all by itself. Just place down this card and you will get cards, unless you bait out a silence or bait out an elimination. I think definitely we're seeing so many War Behemoths. The question is though, I guess how is its stat line still so fantastic? Being a 5/6 means it does a ton of damage, and it's a beast. I mean, it's not actually a beast, but you get what I mean. It's a beast to deal with, this huge minion. Now, for Singularity here, do you move your units upward, Sirixis,
No.
or do you keep them back?
You're still in
Back,
this
okay.
stalemate, I think. You need to play this stalemate the exact same way, especially now that Cabrix has a Chang'e on board. You cannot be the aggressor. You have to play this as defensively as possible, or else you will just take too much damage. You just don't have any answers held back, because Chang'e has the potential to
not
be
call
very
attention to ourselves.
swingy in terms of allowing you to cast very cheap spells, and many of them at the same time. Crescent Blade, okay. So I like this because now, although Siphon Mind, really? Okay. this is a little weird.
Wow. Okay. So he's going for the one shot on War Behemoth here, because he's not so he's trying to
Yes.
reduce the amount of card draw that Singularity gets but that's a negative though, because that means that actually Cabrix can't even one shot him now.
No, he has to deal 2 instances of damage here. Projection
Yeah.
going to come out. I like the projection onto the Imp Guard, because that does just make make Singularity's board significantly worse. There is no way for Cabrix to prevent Sing from drawing 2 cards. I don't like the Chang'e being pushed up. I guess it's not like a huge issue,
Yeah.
but it's just not fantastic. Singularity has a lot of answers though. Habwa recently drawn both Zhongs in hand now. He's got options, but none of them are fantastic. I guess you could you could Alquang Crescent Blade and run your Hoi into one of the 2/4s, and that clears at least one of them off the board, and you get to stick an Alquang.
I think that's the play hands down. And I want to go back to Cabrix. That play Cabrix did. I think he may have made a small misplay because even though he essentially clear, I guess, because the War Behemoth was dying either way.
Yes.
Even and I guess he additionally killed the Imp Guard. But the issue is now, Cabrix has four cards in his hand. That is that's volatile. Or correction, that's nothing compared to Singularity's enormous hand. He's got options, and I think that this will probably come back to bite Cabrix in the rear. So, and we're going to see here, yes, we're going to see exactly what you predicted, and I think it's a very fine play. Hands down. And even though it looks like Singularity is behind or he's on his back leg, I think the exact opposite's happening here because of the card, I guess, hand differences.
Yeah, one of the things about Cabrix's hand is he does have a 1-mana cycle that also deals 2 damage to the stone. Siphon Mind is down 1 less mana, which makes it a much better card than its current iteration. I don't really consider Siphon Mind to be a fantastic card, but when it's only 1 mana, you'll take 1-mana cyclers. That's what Gift of Moonin is. And now Dragon King's a 5-mana card, so we could actually see this come out onto the Alquang this turn, and I think that should be the play.
I think you're exactly right. I think that is the play here. And yes, we're going to see the mighty dragon himself swoop down and kill his human form, I guess, to be brutally honest.
That's a little
And
awkward, yeah.
A little awkward, but nothing too weird. And now, despite what I said, Cabrix now he completely controls board. And then we are going to see Singularity draw that transfusion. And while the transfusion can be used on cards like the Zhongkui, like the Guan Yu, like even the Sun Wukong, I mean, it's still kind of a dead draw, I would say.
Well, if Singularity wants to clear board, he's Surtur Transfusions. If he doesn't care about clearing board, then he can hold on to it, and I don't think you need to worry about this board state immediately if you Habwa back the Imperial Guard, which looks to be the hover. You can Habwa and play a Zhong, and your Zhong's relatively safe at this point in time.
Yeah, hands down, I would say, because your opponent has currently 5 cards in his hand, one of them being an Imp Guard, and then now he has a Chang'e, and unless he wants to Guan Yu, remember, first Guan Yu loses, second Guan Yu wins, that Zhong is there to stay, and that's kind of scary.
I don't necessarily think the second Guan Yu wins. It's the one that stands the longest. And with 2 Rushing Thunders on the board, this Guan Yu gets to clear the Zhongkui without it taking any damage. No, Demon Bag goes to 1 because Habwa dies first. But you could just play Chang'e and set up for another good turn, or you could just play Blade Master and push face.
The point is, Cabrix has options, and I think that's exactly what we're gonna see here. Hovering over the an aggressive Guan Yu.
I like this. If he has a good board state, Singularity is at 8 mana. I think that was a misplay though. I don't think so.
No, because he can just transfusion Suitor and spell, and then he kills Guan Yu without even placing on his own Guan Yu.
That's true, actually.
And that's really scary, because now Cabrix knows that Singularity has a Guan Yu available to him that he hasn't even played yet. That's the scariest part about this, I would say.
Yeah, I do think actually you're right about that. I was not giving respect to Surtur Transfusion. What a weird card combination.
Most people, including myself, don't, because we see usually Surtur as an aura card or an aura emphasis, but 4 health is still tanky. It still gets the job done. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna actually see, he's plenty of mana to do that. And granted, Chang'e was still sand, and Surtur would be at 2 health.
You could projection the Chang'e.
Projection works as well. Oh yeah, it does work. Oh wow, he full clears. No, he doesn't.
Yeah. Oh no, because you can't Crescent Blade and projection, so you have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
So which is, I'm assuming the Guan Yu is 100% more important to get off the board.
Yes, definitely.
No?
What?
No?
Oh, okay. And then, yeah, I would say this is the play because
I guess your own
Singularity
Guan Yu.
knows that Cabrix is most likely not either running A, recalls, or B, even heal. Because, I mean, actually, he can't even run heals, or C, spell immunity. So he says, you know what? I'll kill him next turn. The Chonga's more volatile because she gives his cards so much more value. I think that was Singularity's thought process.
Sure. I guess Singularity also does get to drop Guan and auto kill Guan with his own next turn if he so chooses. So that's mostly fine. I think it's a little weird. Just because even though you're playing spells Wa, you're not playing as many spells as you used to even in your old spells list. You're not playing Manifold Blades because they're not quite as useful. You're not even playing main deck Crescent Blades anymore because they're just bad cards if you're not running them with
Let's
your,
not call
if you don't get them
attention
out of
to
your leader ability.
ourselves.
It just occurred to me by doing what Singularity's play, that was actually the much better play because
Oh,
he
yeah.
kept Suitor alive. Because Guan Yu can't kill without tricking unless he does that, and that's. I mean, wow. Okay, wow. That was hands down. That was actually a very good play on Singularity's part. I didn't even see that.
It's fine, but now you drop Guan Yu, Crescent Blade the Imperial Guard, and there's only an Imperial Guard left on board.
I mean, he also has the Guan Yu option here.
Yeah, yeah.
He could Guan Yu, Demon Bag, and then spell.
Oh,
And, yeah,
Guan Yu Demon Bag. How much damage does Demon Bag have? It's got 1 damage, so it's the same thing as a Crescent Blade. It's
that's
objectively
plenty
worse.
though. They'll get the job done.
Right, but I think you just make a Crescent Blade.
Our deed shall be written.
No, but he probably wants to kill Imparcher though. I mean, Imperial cards, I would say. Yeah.
He doesn't get. Oh, okay. You can do
Better
both.
to keep a low
Yeah. Either way it works. And this is why I at least I believe that generally second Guan Yu wins because look now,
Sure.
how is Singularity and how is Cabrix going to get rid of this Guan Yu? I think his
Blade
only
Master.
option is to Smork.
Yeah, he has to. I mean, Blade Master does a lot against Guan Yu because it's
He does.
tanky. It pushes damage
Let's not call
immediately,
attention
and
to
it's
ourselves.
it's just got good enough power. But Singularity still does have options. Sun Wukong is still a very good card. You could Sun Wukong Zhong and body block the Zhong from getting hit for another turn, even.
Yeah. I mean, again, in this case, now Singularity still has the options. I mean, it's not as clear as it was before, but it still holds true. I mean, he has tools.
The
He has
options
the
aren't great,
tools,
though.
I'd
The
say.
options are not great.
They're not great, but he still has them. I would say.
Yeah, the Chaos Bonds are dead in hand.
Yes. Yeah. You're
Pretty
not
dead.
silencing a Blade Master.
No. Nope. I mean, Sun Wukong Zhong doesn't feel bad because you can body block the Zhong in with the Guan and the Sun Wukong, and then you can Eagle form to just allow yourself better board positioning. He's placing the Sun Wukong in the more aggressive position. Is he looking for Ox form?
Maybe. I mean, all I know is that if the current pace keeps up, because we know Blade Master's running into Summoning Stone again next turn, and he'll be at 7 health. This is scary.
Yeah.
This is kind of scary here.
Definitely a little bit. Demon Bag, it depends on how much this Demon Bag gets and what Cabrix can do with his remaining turns. He does draw his own
Also-
Zhong back in response, which means if this Blade Master dies, he does have an answer to potentially winning this game from 7.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even Hoi is not bad at this point because you can potentially get in a little bit of chip damage. Cabrix might have to play to this. You have to kill the Guan, yeah.
Okay.
No, never mind. You have to kill the Guan, and then you can even play Chang'e, I guess. But even then, like, this is a little bit awkward for Cabrix because he's run out of most of his big minions. And I believe we were talking about this before the set started. He doesn't own his own, or he's not running at least his own Sun Wukong, which makes this a little bit more awkward.
A little bit more awkward. Definitely. You know, I'd say definitely more dangerous for Cabrix on his side. And we're actually gonna see the Fire Giant come out. I mean, Smork it. You're so you kill the Blade Master. So now Demon Bag has 1 damage on it. But you don't care about 1 damage. You have a Fire Giant in hand. And I mean, I will say we do know that Cabrix has Rushing Thunder, so we can get damage, so we can get power off that way. But 6, 8, I mean that's 8 damage. So
He
I mean, I will say this is where Zhong Kui can get scary, because we know that Singular. Actually, no, I stand corrected though, because he does have the Chaos Spawn. No, I am also wrong again. I forgot. Today's just a Zonger Donger type of day. isn't
Zonger
it?
Donger kind of day. I mean, I'm okay with that. Zhong is fun. Zhong is cool. The Fat Man putting in work in this matchup, definitely making everything a little bit scarier for both players. Fire Giant is going to be the play though. Singularity correctly reading that one of the best cards in the game is the best card to play.
Let's not call attention to ourselves.
And you could even choose to run face damage instead of killing the Blade Master, and that's actually going to be Singularity's play because he gets to Crescent Blade the Blade Master instead and attack with the Zhong. Singularity's Demon Bag is now at 2 damage, and with Cabrix's Stone at 15, definitely a little bit scarier for this matchup. Although Ao Kuang double Crescent Blade means that you could even Ao Kuang Crescent Blade each of the 1/1s. Your Demon Bag does 4, and then Chang'e Zhong Demon Bag kill the Sun Wukong, but then you've got to deal with the Fire Giant too.
Yeah, and I actually want to apologize here. I thought Cabrix had Rushing Thunder.
Know your
I must have forgot when he used them
Know
earlier.
yourself,
But
and
and I
victory
completely
will be
forgot about
assured.
this. Singularity has his
Unless
own
you're fighting
Zhong
a
on board.
dragon, of course.
Now this is really scary because okay, so he's gonna go ahead and kill his Zong, but that leaves the Sun Wukong and Fire Giant available, and he's already used half his mana.
Time.
Well, now you Crescent Blade one of the other 1/1s. Chang'e can kill the other
Yeah.
1/1,
Yeah.
and your Demon Bag goes to 5, and then Zhong still kills the Sun Wukong.
Okay.
This is a slightly more efficient blind than the one I was discussing because you also kill the Zhong at the same time. Yeah, Crescent Blade kill Demon Bag's at 4, right? Demon Bag's at 4. Crescent Blade kills the other 1/1, the other 2/1, I mean. And okay, he's gonna Demon Bag Crescent Blade the. Ao Kuang gives an extra damage. I don't know
Yeah.
that. Yep, Ao Kuang gives an extra damage, so Demon Bag is still lethal. It's just different sequencing at this point.
Yes, indeed.
But Singularity still has 3-turn lethal right here. If this Fire Giant isn't answered immediately, basically, then that's just game.
Well, we already know that the Chaos Spawn is most likely going to silence. Oh, okay, I see that. I thought you'd silence it, but no, instead he's just going to try to rush it as soon as possible. Then we're probably going to see the Suitor play. Or
Yeah.
Or we're going to see the
Play
silence
Suitor.
on the Chunga. That works
I
as well.
like Surtur because Surtur pushes. Surtur just pushes more damage with this Fire Giant and pushes 1 himself. So you push 7 this turn, and you have potential to completely wipe Cabrix's board next turn with this Fire Giant.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll probably see. Actually, wait, does he have a way to? He'll live
Fire
next
Giant
turn.
dies
He
this
has
turn.
to kill Fire Giant. He has to kill Fire Giant.
Fire Giant dies to Ao Kuang Projection Crescent Blade this turn.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose this is another fine
With
day
attacks
for
from
a
both the
battle.
Chang'e and
I am a
the
bit hungry.
Zhong, but that's still a lot of units that get buffed by this Surtur. Surtur just runs up to, and that's 7 more damage pushed from Singularity, bringing Cabrix to 1 even without any other cards in hand.
1. That right there is scary, being at 1 health, especially because there's just so many sources of possible damage. And I mean, so you have to kill a Fire Giant. You can't leave that card up. Like
Yes.
even if you weren't at such low health, you still wouldn't leave it up because of its massive cleave AOE. And now we're gonna see the Habois dead. And again, like I would say, this game's just been So there's the Care Behemoth now actually being relatively impactful. Wait, does he have lethal?
No.
He does.
Um,
With Demon Bag, yeah.
No, Demon Bag only
Doesn't
does
have 2 damage on it? It does. 3, 5, yeah, he's lethal.
How is this lethal?
Oh wait, my bad. I
Stone's
apologize.
at 4, yeah.
I did not see. Gosh dang it.
It
This
is
is one of
it
those
is
days,
lethal
isn't it?
next turn though, because of Carry
Yeah, it's lethal
Behemoth coming
next
down.
turn.
Carrier Behemoth coming down, Cabrick should recognize that unless he draws something to answer this Carrier Behemoth, I don't think he has any silences in this
Better
list.
to keep a
Potentially, he
low
could
profile.
draw a Habwa if he still has any left in his deck. But that's the only way he can potentially get back into this game. Alquang's not going to do it because of the Demon Bag in hand. Singularity is going to take this matchup and move on to the semifinals after a very long and drawn-out quarterfinals against a relatively new player in the scene.
Yeah, Cabrick's played really well. I think it's just honestly the Sun Wukong was extremely impactful because even though the Sun Wukong I think only got off 6 damage, if I'm correct, of course,
Plus
it's the
2 with
fact
the
they did
Ox
waste
form.
so much eliminate. Wait, what?
Plus 2 with the Ox form.
Oh yeah, my bad. So 8 damage. It's still the idea that he had to waste so much elimination into. I guess not waste. He had to pour so much elimination into the Sun Wukong, and that is what that was pretty critical here. And then here's where Carrier Behemoth again is just a pretty volatile card because if he eliminates the immediate sources of damage, he still can't live because the Carrier Behemoth will bring him down to 1, and then honestly Cabrick should know that he's a Demon Bag, so I guess it's frustrating because he doesn't have a play here, but also that's what happens. Carrier Behemoth is
Not call
so
attention.
strong.
Victory will be assured.
Okay.
Unless you're
So-
fighting a dragon, of course.
Crescent Blade's going to come out down on there. I mean,
Good game.
you can body block as much as you want, but you can't run and hide from the Fat Man. Even if he's dead, this is going to be lethal. There's the final point of damage, and Singularity
That
moves on to
man's
face
hand beyond the
Ichang.
grave.
Yeah. Singularity moves on to face Ichang in the semifinals now. Ichang, a great player in his own right, very, very strong, was, I believe, top 3 in the DreamHack qualifiers a couple months back. So this is going to be a fantastic set to watch. But we are going to be cutting to a break. We'll be bringing you one of the semifinals matchups in just a minute. I believe the other one is Beelzebul versus Kenneth, 2 other very strong players in their own right. So we'll be bringing you one of these semifinals in just a minute, guys. Stay tuned.
Welcome everyone. It is your favorite employee, a Comcast employee. Aside me is Leonis, and we
Hi,
are
guys.
semifinals. Yeah. Semifinals. Bleezebulb, Raw on the left, and Kenneth Chinese on the right. Leonis, what are you expecting from this match? We already see the Zhonghui.
Well, you know me. Chinese gonna win. Chinese best Pantheon ever.
Well, yes, indeed. So, seeing the armored behemoth here, what do you make of that? Because it's an interesting card, and it's actually pretty strong against the Chinese Pantheon because Chinese has a bunch of tiny little damage here and there, and the also armored thrives off
Know your enemy.
tiny damage that can really like spike it up because it is like the old Hercules.
Well, I wasn't playing the game back when there was an old Hercules, but as you can see, it is easily dealt with here, and especially that Imperial Guard is very good versus high HP minions. It gets underestimated a lot because of its low attack, but once you buff it up with spells, and especially because there's no recoil, it is actually a very strong card against high HP minions.
We're probably gonna see the execute coming out here. Yes, the execute on the Ao Kuang. Ao Kuang is just such a strong card. You can't really let the card live because of the plus spell damage. And then, wow, I mean, these turns are flying by.
Yeah, you know what? You know what other card you can't let live? The Zhonghui, which is already on the board for I think 2
Yeah.
deaths.
Well, I mean, I think what Bleezebulb is doing is he's trying to make a quality annihilation. But the issue is in trying to set up that circumstance. He's leaving the Zhonghui on the board, and leaving a Zhonghui on the board, we all know, is very dangerous, especially from all the 20 damage demon bag memes.
Yep. Luckily for him, there is a Blade Master in his hand, but he decides to go for the Annihilation. I'm not exactly sure why, because the only thing you kill with it is the next. Besides the Zhong, of course, is the Imperial Guard, and that's not very impactful. Kenneth, not doubting for a moment, going Phase, going Smork with the War Behemoth, and has lots of options of his own. For example, a second Zhong.
Yeah,
And a second Imperial Guard.
the second Zong, it's also worth mentioning that Demon Bag being a spell plays off of different Zongs. So in this case, even though Bleez just got finished with dealing with that like destructive first song, he has a second one to deal with, and he has to kill this, otherwise he's just gonna end up dying. But it's also frustrating for Bleez because he also has to deal with the insane warrior. I mean, the behemoth. Like, how is he gonna do that, Leonis?
Yeah, that's a very good question that I wouldn't have the answer to, and I'm afraid that Beelzebul doesn't have the answer to it either. He needs to deal with the Zhong, and that means you take another 5 damage from the carrier, or from the Behemoth. And of course, there's the Imperial Guard as well, that has an easy time with the remains of the Blade Master. Not even. Wow, how
Like,
much
I would
damage is
honestly
on the bags right now? I think there's like 4 in the first one. Oh, it's only 2 and 0.
Plenty to kill a 14 health, or I guess now a 9 health Bleezebulb. This has been a complete contrast to last game. This has been a very, very quick game. Just, I guess Kenneth just going off, honestly. Because like there's just there's just nothing for Bleezebulb to do. Like, he doesn't have any play that's gonna save him here. Even playing Doom Guardian is gonna make a minion, but why would Kenneth care about a minion when he can just smork it?
Yeah, I don't want to say that I said that Chinese would win, but Chinese would. I said Chinese would win. I didn't expect it to be this quick, but yeah, you can snowball pretty badly with this deck, as you can see. And to be honest, I don't see a way out for Beelzebul at this point.
Yeah, and this is where like some of the new players, and like myself included, I'm not a new player, have frustration with the Chinese Pantheon because it has so many answers. And in this case, Kenneth was just able to answer everything he put down, everything from Ao Kuang projections for 6 damage to Zhonghui's Imperial Guard. So he's gonna try to mitigate some of the damage. Unfortunately, we know those demon bags are pretty big. Or wait, has he already used them? Oh, no, I see them. There they are. That looks like lethal.
That does look like lethal to me. If he, oh yeah, he has a, yeah, whatever. He has lethal. The stone is gone, and this means that it's a very quick 1-0.
Very quick 1-0. Kenneth up one game, I guess the first game. Bleezebulb gonna have to try to come back from this. But he's gonna. I mean, he has time to come back from this, but he still has to in order to really try to, win the set. Stay tuned, guys. We will see you. Even though, despite the quick game, we'll see you soon.
Better to keep a low profile.
Hello, guys. It is Comcast employee on the mic with Leonis. I'm gonna try to go a bit faster this time since last game was so quick. Bleezebulb on Nuwa, Kenneth on Mayan. Leonis, what's your prediction for this game?
This is a tricky one. Well, actually, one side plays China and the other side doesn't. So, looking at last game, I would predict that China is going to win. And I think that's why BLs will pick the China here. But of course, we see Kenny with a very good start. Even though he already used his silence, he dealt with the Zhong here very quickly, which means that the demon bag is worthless.
And in this case, yeah, that's exactly why Zhong can be kind of a situational card. In this case, Kenneth actually missing a single damage on the summoning stone. It's not going to amount much, but it still will amount to a little bit. We're going to see his both War Behemoths come out. Bleezebulb, I mean, even though it's like the Chinese Pantheon has a wide variety of ways to deal with Mayan, and that is a pretty dangerous way itself to silence the enemy's card draw, which is just so fantastic. And he's actually going to spell it. And so it's almost like a reversal roll. Even though that, oh, okay. Scratch, I was about to say, Kukulkan coming out pretty much making
Never lucky.
Perfect. Like,
Never lucky for Kenneth here. He wanted to snipe the War Behemoth, but he couldn't. At least the Kukulkan is out of range for the War Behemoth, but still not out of range for projection.
Better to keep
saying
So here we go.
yeah,
Yeah.
sending in their GGs. That's pretty rough for Kenneth again. And like I said, the Chinese has so many tools to deal with really any Pantheon. We're gonna see the wow. These turns are flying by. We're gonna see the.
I
Blade
feel
Master
like a
come out.
rapper. I have to commentate so fast. I can't keep up.
Seeing the Blade Master come out for making quick work of the War Behemoth. It's Bleezebulb has an opportunity to play a pretty big card here. But what do you play? I mean, instantly we're already seeing this is a very different style deck than the one that Kenny played last game. Primarily because he's got some beasts in it. What do you think of that,
Yeah.
Linus?
Yeah, this is a more aggressive deck with the Suku and of course the White Tigers in contrary to the more controlish China deck, as far as you can have control in China, that we saw last game. Which means that Beelzebub really needs the tempo, and if he can't get that, which, well, he has it now, kinda, but if he loses it again, then he is behind. In this situation, I would say Beelzebub's ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately though, Beelzebub is going to have to deal with the War Behemoth. And again, two of these in the deck, they provide a nice source of card draw and they're pretty risky. Kind of, do you go ahead and just Dragon Master it, just end it, and then get some stone damage? Is that the play?
I think Dragon King is pretty good here. Not even, or the other option is White Tiger, Suku, and then the leader ability, the Crescent Blade. That clears it as well. But I like the Dragon King more, I think.
And we are going to go ahead and see the Dragon King himself come down, decimating the War Behemoth. We're going to also see a Ho Yi, and then the Blade Master going to come around back and snatch 4 health from the Summoning Stone. Beelzebub in a very good position here, because even though, I mean, honestly, I think Kenneth is waiting on his Blight here. A Blight would be sick right now. He's got the Cabrakan, he's got Blade Master. Kenneth has options, and we're going to see the Blade Master go ahead and come out, making quick work of Bleez's Blade Master himself. And now we're going to see that card played earlier that we didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to. The Ao Kuang, not the Ao Kuang, the buff to Opwash's ability, giving him now 2/2 zombies. Now, Ho Yi is still going to make pretty quick work of these zombies. Maybe even a slight misplay on Beelzebub's part, putting down the Zhong Kui. Now he's got to take 2 damage. It's alright though, you know? Everything's good though, because he's got Zhong Kui on board, buffing that Demon Bag.
Both Demon Bags even.
Oh, both
because
Demon
that's
Bags.
what Zhong does. As you can see, they're both on 2 damage now, even though the first one was at 0. And especially against Mayan and Odin, for example, these Demon Bags are so strong, because there are so many tiny minions. There's a whole corner of ranged units over there that the Blade Master cannot reach, so what can the Mayan player do in this situation? How would you deal with a corner like this?
Simple. Top deck Blight.
That seems pretty good.
All jokes aside, though, even that still wouldn't kill a Zhong Kui at 4 health. It's a difficult situation because you do have some tools, and we're gonna go ahead and see the Decay come out and kill the Zonger Donger, which is what you gotta do. In all honesty, raising the graves is is he? Okay, he's gonna play Cabrakan.
Yeah, I like the
Cabrakan is just really. Yeah, exactly. I love Cabrakan. His card is really good, but not much. It's also really fun to watch because Cabrakan adds up damage, man. Especially if you have 2 of them in your deck, which Kenny may or may not have. But that's besides the point. We're gonna go ahead and see the zombie die over here, and then unfortunately, Bleez can't hit the 3 health Blade Master with his Ho Yis. What do you do here?
I think I would like the Gao Yu coming out. Or what's it called? Guan Yu? Together with the Demon Bag on the 4/3. Because then you clear the Blade Master as well as the zombie, leaving only the Cabrakan alive.
Exactly. I think it's kind of what you have to do here. I mean, because Cabrakan, if you let it get to your Summoning Stone, and we know Chinese loves their spells, they love their small cards, that's going to be a lot of damage adding up. It's going to get dangerous.
That's going to be fun.
Fast. And hopefully, you know, that won't rack up too much on Bleez's side. He could play the Chalfang and block, but no, he's just gonna go straight up, like you said. We're gonna see the Guan Yu play here. It's gonna spin to win and pretty much get rid of a lot of the damage on the board. And now we're gonna see a 2/6 Cabrakan putting in some work. Gonna go ahead and take out one of the
Yeah, the 2/6 Cabrakan is still pretty strong, and that's the good part about that Cabrakan.
Okay.
Having so much HP, you can live through a lot, and that for mana, even with this effect, it's really strong. And there we go, the X-Bang coming out, killing both the Hao Yus, if I'm correct there.
Ho Yi.
Ho Yis, so close.
So
and
close.
even
you're
the Barter Soul to get 2 cards back, and there we go, a Decay and a Blade Master. And if there were any cards that Kenny wanted back there, it was those cards.
Now, if you've listened to my stream, I play a lot of mine, but the one thing I have said is I'm not a big fan of Barter Souls because it's risky.
This
Like,
was a
in
mistake.
this case, Kenny said, you know what? Let's play risky. He went ahead and got the power. He got 2 really fantastic cards. This game is, Bleez may think he has options. It's about to get a whole lot harder. 5 damage out from Zuku. That is a lot of damage coming out. It's getting kind of risky here.
And a second Blood Bond being drawn as well. Wow, you can... I think you could just decay the 5-3 maybe, and then play the Xiao Fang in front of the Tiger. That locks the entire turn for Beelzebub. Goes for the Blade Master.
He could go for the Blood Bond here. Negate. Yes, he's gonna go ahead and go for the Blood Bond. That's fine. It gets rid of pretty much all the damage on the field. And okay, another Zuku coming out. Kenneth needs a
Miracle.
he's not gonna hit the blight.
No, he doesn't need Miracle here. I think he's in a very good position.
He has Raise the Graves. He has options. It's just they're not the best options.
Well, I think if he would have raised the Grave and Decay here, he would have cleared the board. But this is good as well. Now the Xiao Fang can't reach the stone, so no more damage from Beelzebub. Unless, of course, you draw a Hebo, and then you can put 7 damage on the stone. Which is almost lethal.
Indeed. And I think the Hebo play is definitely what you want to do here. And we're gonna go ahead and see even more damage. It's kind of a it's a smork fest, trying to get as much damage on the summoning stone as possible. My screen kind of freezing up.
Oh
here,
yeah,
but
there we go.
There we are. Just it's still Kenny's in a bad situation.
How do you do this?
Wanting
So
to
you
sever. Now I'm not a big
Oh, yeah.
sever fan. What do
you
you
decay
think,
and
Charlie?
sever. Well, it gives you the out here. You can decay the Blade Master and then sever the Xiao Fang. On the other hand, my screen froze again. So it's kinda tricky to follow. Maybe our lovely host Strixus can do something about this. But for the moment we are blind. So yeah, waiting.
I think we'll be fine because we already know how this game is leaning. Bleez being able to really pull this game off most likely, even though I can mostly predict that that's exactly what's happening there. And
Oh, here we go. We're back.
Let's not call attention.
We're gonna see that, and we're gonna actually see a full clear board and Bleez with 2 damage on the field. I mean 4 damage on the field. There's
and
the
Blight.
blight that Kenny's been missing this entire game.
Doesn't go for it now. But this is so funny because oh no, the 1 damage from the sun. It's enough to get into the range of the demon bag.
Is it?
I think it is. The demon bag should be 2 damage. Yup, it is. Oh, so he lethaled himself. If he just blighted, then he would have won.
Right here, Kenny is gonna have a facepalm moment. That is frustrating, and that's obviously a lot of the time where you want to keep tabs on your opponent's hand and what cards you know your opponent has. Unfortunately, though, that was actually again kind of switched sides that game where the Chinese Bleedsbull deck just stormed house. Obviously it was much longer, but it was still a very good game. Linus, any comments on that last game?
Chinese won, but not as easily as I had expected. Those are my comments.
All right, the game currently tied up 1-1. I'm excited to see next game. Stay tuned, guys. We'll bring you that in just a moment. Welcome. Come on. It's your caster, a Comcast employee alongside me, Leonis, still here. Kenneth on the Alpwash again, and BlazBulb on his Egyptian. How does this matchup sound, Leonis?
That's a very good question, and to be honest, I'm not entirely sure because these are more of the control classes where I am more experienced with the aggressive classes like Chinese and Norse. So I think especially the Mayan part is more your area of expertise.
And I would say you're probably right here. Gonna go ahead and execute the War Behemoth. That's a very quality play. That's fine, and I mean that's what you got. You gotta do what you gotta do. Now, I like this matchup a lot because while there is the Khepri, and it's gonna go ahead and do an early Raise the Graves in an effort to try to put a lot of damage on the Summoning Stone. But the point is, the Mayan Pantheon has a lot of specified removal, and even it can really play around some of the bigger creeps. And then it's actually quite a bit of removal, and people generally sleep on that. In this case, we're gonna go ahead and there is a solid Sorket kill, and that is
Sometimes
really
lucky.
good because you can go ahead and farther soul that. Gonna even throw out a little haha just because of how planned that was, I would assume.
Yeah, I think Beelzebub was slightly less happy about that, even going to barter soul his minion.
Gonna
Because
go ahead
he's gonna
and
die
get the
anyway.
mana potion back. I mean, hey, what works works.
But here we go, and
Anubis
Anubis on the
here.
board. Pretty good.
Anubis works. These turns are flying by. What do you play here for Kenneth? What do you play here?
Let me check this hand really quick. I think I would have gone for the DK on the Anubis, but Bloodbond does kind of the same.
Yeah, Blood Bond, it just gives you more board control, and I love putting it around your opponent's Summoning Stone because now not only do they have limited spawn spaces, but they have to understand that whenever they place down a minion, it's going to be taking some extra damage, which is a very critical point. We do know that Bleeze does have the execute if Kenneth placed on anything big, but you know, who cares about that when you have just a destructive Decay? And Decay is a really interesting card. Sorry, real quick, I want to point
Yeah,
this out.
sure. Go ahead.
Is it says turn an enemy into a zombie, meaning no death battles activate, or not afterlives, apologize. No afterlives activate, no bonus effects activate. It literally turns the unit into a zombie, and that's really beneficial for Kenneth here. We're gonna go ahead and see the Khepri, and this is
Oh
why,
man,
this
that
is
got me.
why Egyptian does an alright job. It can do an alright job against the Mayan Pantheon.
And here, especially playing that War Behemoth before the Capri shows that he really knows how his cards work, because then the War Behemoth gets 1 damage but gets healed back up again as well. But he draws a card from it anyway. And can even trade the Kamazots away, so no real advantage for Kenny build by using that legendary.
Yeah, I mean, playing the Kamazot, I feel like may have been a necessary evil for Kenny. I don't think he had an option. I mean, he may. I wasn't able to check his hand because he played the card so fast. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do in some situations, even if it's not a play that you want to make. But
Yeah,
Lee's at the
interesting.
board here.
Interesting
We're
play
seeing
by
Kevin
Beelzebub.
doesn't.
I thought he would play the second War Behemoth, but he decided to go for Bastet. And I'm not entirely sure why.
He may
Because
have
he had-
gone for the Bastet to bait out something like this. Because what's better, a Bastet dying getting silenced, or an on her, or I can use top deck on her, or I guess a Blade Master, or even a War Behemoth. I think he was trying to bait out some of Kenneth's elimination, and that's where it may have come in.
Well, that worked out really well, and here he can use his Annihilation and set up an Anhur to clear the board and block all the Death Rattles in the Mayan deck. And are there a lot of Death Rattles in the Mayan deck?
Afterlife.
Sorry, Death Rattle. No, I meant War Cries even. I was
War
this
Cries,
wrong. With Anhur, you block the War Cries. So are there a lot of War Cries in the Mayan deck?
Yes, there are, especially including X-Ball. And in this case, we're going to see the On Her come out, trying to position On Her in the best possible sense. Because On Her is an interesting card. Because it being ranged and having 3 damage means it can actually pump damage. But at the same time, it's a card you want to ideally sit back. we are going to go ahead and see the Decay, which is, again, like I said, a necessary evil. And we're also, then we're going to see into the Blood Bond, clearing board and stamping Kenneth's name on it. And then she's going to go ahead and bar her soul, and she's going to get that...
Oh, again the mana potion back in his
This
hand.
mana potion refuses to leave, and he's wow, just, okay.
Kenneth has mana for days, but that's not what he's happy about. And here we see two big threats coming out. He's already seen at least one Chaos Spawn, and we see that there is no second Chaos Spawn in the hand of Kenneth. What can you do here? You've also seen a lot of
that's brutal.
Blood Spawns.
That's brutal. Right there, as I was saying before, Mayan has ways to deal with certain big minions, and in that
Especially
case,
if you get them back.
yep, that is a rough one. Bleeze, so how do you approach this game now if you're Bleeze? Because both your executes are gone, your annihilation's gone. What are you trying to do here?
I was about to say this is great positioning for Beelzebub because he can heal two creatures or minions at once and then buff his Sobek, but he decides not to play it and play the Bastet instead. Which is kind of surprising to me, but there is the second Chaos Spawn, and now he can finally start using that Sobek and ramp it up to a very large minion. I'm pretty sure that Kenneth has no more hard removal left. I think we've seen like 5 Blood Bonds and 3 decays, but we should be out of it by now.
We've seen 2 Barter Souls. It's an interesting situation, but I would say in this case, Mayan has the upper hand. Because you've got a Kabrakan. You can't, if he's out of execute, and this card's gonna pump out so much damage. And we're gonna see a pretty hefty 8/6 Doom Guardian, I believe. You don't see a whole lot of this card because it is pretty situational. But I mean, Bleeze, while Bleeze does have this big minion, I mean, Kenneth does have a Chao Fang who negates currently all this damage. Is he gonna push down? No, he's actually gonna go ahead and push that, and so he's gonna go ahead and kill the dude though. Is that the right play, Linus?
It's a tricky one. I think it will die anyway because he has to trade with it. But on the other hand, if you don't kill it, it will grow larger, and then if there is hard removal in the hand of Beelzebub, it doesn't have to trade, and it can go phase for 10-12 damage at once. Which is very painful, obviously. So I think it might have been the right choice, but on the other hand, there's still a Sobek, there's still a gap on the board, and this is a very tough position for the Mayan, in my opinion.
So he can kill Chao Fang. He kills Chao Fang with Magma Slam, right?
Yep,
and
you definitely
then
do.
he can even geb into your boy X-Ball. Or Shibalanke.
Ooh, that was a mistake.
Bleeze has options. Bleeze has options.
I think Beelzebub made a miscalculation there, where he thought he would get 2 attack on the Sobek, but because of that the gap was already full HP, you can't have a clean trade into the War Behemoth there.
Yeah. Oh, oh man, I think you're right as well, because he does not have enough mana to Magma Slam the Chao Fang. This is a pretty sticky situation because now, because of this misplay, we're gonna see a full health Chao Fang and a full health War Behemoth, and we're actually gonna
Oh, and the Fire Giant being drawn, that's such a draw here. This means that he can have the best trades of his life. He can kill the gap with the War Behemoth and a Fire Imp, and he can kill the Sobek as well. Whatever order you choose to do it, this is the better order because now the War Behemoth is on 3 HP instead of 1. But still,
And,
that's such a great draw.
Yeah, Bleeze has this is insane, especially drawing the Kraken. He's gonna go ahead and even kill the Sobek. Wow, this game took a turn for the worse for Bleeze Bolt.
And at all because of the one tiny misplay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where this game, and that's where Hand of the Gods Smite Tactics is such a. That's why like a lot of people come over it from Hearthstone because it is such an intricate game. A small misplay late game can mean the entire game is lost. And so what do you need if you are Bleeze? What do you need to win this game? Or correction, to survive this game?
I think Magma Slam is a very good draw. Or no, he didn't draw it. He already had a Magma Slam. It's your only way to deal with the Chao Feng. You can't let it be alive forever, because even though 3 attack looks like not a lot of attack, it adds up. So you have to Magma Slam the Chao Feng and take the brunt of the damage on your Blade Master, as we can see. But then the Fire Giant is still alive, and that's another large minion. You literally have no cards in your hand anymore. You already used the Annihilation. I'm not entirely sure what Beelzebub can still do to win this game.
Honestly, I don't know either. Like, I don't think he can win this game, unfortunately. Like, he's already used up his board-wide elimination, and we know that Kenny has the Blight if he needs to get extra DPS off. And Empowered Dead is a really interesting card. I want to talk about this for a second, because generally 1-1 and transitioning into a 2-2 isn't that big of a deal, especially in a game such as this. But late game, it matters quite a bit, and this is exactly what we're seeing here. These 2-2 zombies are going to start making an impact because Bleeze can't keep up with them. Essentially, it's double the damage, double the stats, and look at this, just another 2-2. It's constant 2-2s because Bleeze can't find an answer to this.
And yeah, I want to speak about the players for a moment, because as we can see, this game, even though it's not over, it is very favored for Kenneth right now. But these players are pretty well known. Kenneth is a long-term player. He has reached high levels in tournaments before. Beelzebub, kind of a more up-and-coming player. Last week, he lost to Mr. C4 in the quarterfinals, which was a chance for him to really establish, for Beelzebub to really establish himself as one of the top players. But he lost. Then this tournament, he plays Mr. C4 again in the quarterfinals, and this time he wins. So now he is here in the semifinals playing Kenneth, and he's one step further than last week. So maybe if he loses this game next week, we'll see him in the finals.
Bleeze actually he's actually he's actually almost a pal of myself, because we're constantly deck building and coming up with new thoughts. And both these players are very skilled at the game, and that's what makes the game a lot of fun. I'm gonna go ahead and see the Sever. The Sever being very. Bleeze doesn't have an answer. He just doesn't. And then it adds insult to injury that Kenneth does have the Kukulkan in his hand, eliminating any possible clear. But, Bleeze ain't gonna give up just yet. He does have the Khepri, and this is where Bracken, though, is going to be an issue. Every card Bleeze plays gets punished. 2 damage. And when you're at 10 health, 2 damage means a lot.
Yeah, so every card that Beelzebub draws here is actually pretty good. But it's not good enough to bring him back into the game. So it's more like stalling out your imminent death than actually starting to win the game at some point. But imminent death is rather close at the moment, as Beelzebub will probably notice as well. So this is the final chance for Beelzebub to draw something that can save this game for him. And I think Blade Master is not it.
I mean, honestly, I don't think there's anything. The only card that could possibly do anything would be Ascension, and that's just the wrong Pantheon at this point. I don't think Bleeze has an option. They're gonna go exchange their good games, and that's gonna be it. Game 3, most likely. I mean, I don't know. Is there a possible way he can heal, but then he takes 2 damage, so he's at 7 health.
Nah, I think he's done.
That's 2, 6. Yes, that's just lethal.
It's exactly lethal.
It's exactly lethal, actually.
No, not if he heals the stone.
Oh, wait, no.
Then
no.
it's 1 off.
No, but he has an X-Ball, it doesn't matter.
Alright, yeah, okay. But Beelzebub doesn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't know that. But... Oh, okay. Never mind. I guess Kenneth taking the slow and steady approach, and this can be seen in multiple different ways. I like to see it.
I call it missing
as a
lethal.
respect.
But you can also call it
I
extended
like
PM.
to see it as a respectful play, making sure there's no possible way Bleeze can win, regardless of what you see it as. That was Game 3. Kenny up 2-1. Unfortunately, Bleaze's raw deck not really finding much success. What do you think of it, Linus?
I think the heal rat can be really strong, but in this case, the Mayan just had all the answers with the Heart Ring That's what we saw all game long. Like I said before that we've seen like 5 blood bronze and 3 decays. Of course, it was slightly less, but we have seen a lot of both of those, and that was what really dealt the finishing blow to Beelzebub in this game. And this also means that Kenny is the first one to reach the finals of this tournament.
Exactly. Yeah, that was actually the end of the set at that. Please, that was also. I like that set a lot better than last one because the decks obviously were more interesting to see, but more importantly because the games weren't too. I mean, actually they were very very fast, but that last game went down to actually 0-0. So that was the entire deck being played. I think one of the bigger factors that definitely damaged Bleeze was the too late to matter Doom Guardian, because Doom Guardian is a very interesting card. It can become very hard to handle if played on curve and like in a situation where it's viable. But in this case, it was just played too late, in my opinion. Well, regardless, thank you guys. Stay tuned. We'll be bringing you the finals soon enough. You won't want to miss it. I will see you guys. Oh yeah.
changes.
Life. Life.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Grand finals time. Kenneth versus Ichang, both on Nuwa, both bringing out different variations of a spells-based deck, it looks like. My name's Trixis. I'm here with Leonis, and we're bringing you game one of this grand finals. There's not a whole lot to talk about in this matchup, just based on the fact that we're seeing two Nuwa decks, but a couple of different intricacies in this matchup. There are Imperial Archers. Imperial soldiers in Ichang's deck.
I was about to say not a lot to talk about. What are you talking about? This is a very interesting and aggressive list from Ichang. I think he switched out the Imperial cards, which are more the value cards, with the Imperial soldiers, which are of course the aggressive cards. And we see that he's even running Contemplation. If
Interesting.
And probably two Imperial Archers as well. So they are both decks that are way different than the one I'm playing myself.
Yeah, I mean, Imperials are just value cards in and of themselves if you can get a lot of spells, and that's why Contemplation is the card of choice for Ichang. We actually saw him maybe intentionally pop it, maybe that was an accident that that card was popped, because it does give Kenny information now that he wouldn't have had prior. Kenny now gets to drop his War Behemoth, and even though Ichang's list feels more aggressive, he's kind of got a lot of do-nothings in hand, like 3 Crescent Blades, 2 Clear Minds. He's got to start filling out his hand a little bit, or start getting rid of some of his hand, start thinning out it, or he's just going to lose a lot of value.
You know, I love the positioning in the Zhong from Kenneth. He positioned it aggressively. Most people put it in the back because you don't want to lose it. But it is a 2-4 ranged, which is still a good minion. And you want to kill that Imperial Archer sometime, somewhere in the game. So
Right.
Positioning it aggressively like this actually is really strong in my opinion.
And now Kenny's Demon Bag does have at least 2 damage on it. If he's been counting, Ichang's got a lot of Crescent Blades in hand. We can count them to 3, but Chang'e makes this board, makes this hand and the board for Ichang just absolutely ridiculous. He should be able to almost full clear this with Chang'es and Crescent Blades. And even this
Yeah.
Ao Kuang, wow. Actually, he might just play the Ao Kuang and push face with Crescent Blades.
I think he'll play the Ao Kuang here and then hit 2 Crescent Blades onto the Blade Master or the remains of the Blade Master. Finish it off with the Imperial Archer if need be, and hopefully snipe the Zhuang. Unfortunately, that's not what's going to happen, because the Imperial Archer already hit the Blade Master here, but you can still try to play it like this. Now you need a contemplation, maybe, or the clear mind, maybe the second one as well.
And there it is.
Wow, there we
You
go.
are
This is a sniper Imperial Archer if I've ever seen one.
Yep. Promotion guaranteed for this little 1-3 in the back line. Going to get promoted to the sharpshooter class.
Yep.
Kenny drops his War Behemoth yet again, but a much less scary War Behemoth than it was a couple of turns ago. Manifold Blade for I Ching. Is he running a couple of beasts as well? Or is
Well,
this just supposed to be a value Manifold Blade?
If our theory keeps up of I Ching playing the more aggressive deck, then Beast and especially Suku wouldn't be surprised. We've seen it before in other decks, and I think the Manifold Blade is a good addition to this because it can hit the stone as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. It just makes it almost a better Crescent Blade in many respects. The only problem I see right now with this Imperial Archer coming through is that the Imperial Archer pinging the War Behemoth means that it's going to draw Kenny a lot more cards than it would if he just pummeled a couple of Crescent Blades into it.
Yep, and of course the fact that I Ching effectively only has one card in his hand, because all the other cards are kind of doing nothing except for proccing the Imperial Archer, which is
Oh.
dead now, by the way.
This is an aggressive Dragon King for Kenny, but I think he realizes that if I Ching is playing aggressively, he needs to be even more aggressive, pushing more face damage so that I Ching's aggression just is neutralized. Kenny is not known to be super aggressive, but he definitely is known to take his advantages when he can find them. And dropping his opponent to 13 is definitely one of those advantages that could come back and to bite I Ching if he just got his Alquang bounce. That's a huge tempo loss.
I think the play that Kenneth shows really shows me that he understands his deck and he understands the matchup. He knows that he has to be aggressive here. He knows that he has the advantage. So there is no way for I Ching to deal effectively with all the stuff that Kenneth can put on. Like this Blade Master, I Ching has a lot of difficulty to deal with the large minions. His Aokwang just got bounced, so he has to play it again, and then he only has 5 mana left to deal with the Blade Master. That's not enough.
It's not. This Alquang's been on a pogo stick all game, been bounced back to I Ching's hand twice now. It's like that's not a recipe for victory for I Ching. If you're Alquang, if you can't keep your most valuable cards on the board, then you just don't win the game. Also, good to note that Kenny does have a 3 damage Demon Bag in hand, so I Ching's effectively at 6. By the time that I Ching falls to 3, this game is over, and projection onto the Alquang. I Ching's not been able to keep this Alquang on the board for more than a turn at any given time, and Kenny's on the edge of winning this game at this point.
Yeah, but this is exactly what I said before. I Ching has to use all the few resources that he has to clear the large minions from Kenneth, and Kenneth can just spawn one minion after another, no problem. The Hebo makes a tempo swing in favor of I Ching, so that helps out, and he blocks the paths here, but of course the Hebo only has 1 HP, so it's easily cleared if there is a second Blade Master for Kenneth. Unfortunately for him, there is not.
Kenny does have to play this a little bit further back, though, which is good for I Ching. I Ching's kind of mitigated some of the aggression that Kenny's been showing. War Behemoth's now in the back rather than in the front where we've seen it for the past multiple turns. So what do you think Kenny's looking for? Potentially a cute Sun Wukong Eagle form play?
Better to keep
Would you think?
I think Kenny played too quickly. I think after looking, he saw that he had the second, what's it called again? The 3 mana card deal the damage of your minion to an opponent's minion.
Projection, yeah.
Projection, yeah. He had the second projection in hand, so he could have used that to kill the Zhong and then use the Crescent Blade on the Hebo,
Yep.
which would have cleared most of the board. Only the Chang'e would still be there, and then you have a 5/6. So you could have put it in an aggressive way, but because he didn't, he put it in the backline very quickly. He had to change his plans.
Which is fine. Imperial Guard, when you play Sun Wukong, which I assume is going to be Kenny's play next turn, if he plays Sun Wukong and does some board clearing shenanigans, he can get I Ching to 3 health very easily.
Let's not call attention.
I would
to us.
assume that's going to be his play. Icheng has to be very careful of this War Behemoth and might be forced to Dragon King at this turn. That is going to be the hover. That is going to be the left click. The King of the Eastern Seas takes out the War Behemoth, allowing Kenny to draw 2 cards. But it does allow Icheng to survive just a little longer at the same time.
And that's all what it's all about for Icheng at the moment. He knows he's behind. He knows he has to do whatever he can to survive. Hitting the stone with the Dragon King was not going to help him in any way, shape, or form. Because Kenneth is still on 23 HP. And here we go. Kenneth drawing another one of his giant minions. An actual giant. Which also helps him deal with the Zhong. And this looks like a very tough situation for Icheng. As it did before. But now I think the end is near.
I would assume it's most likely near. Kenny does have to be a little bit more careful. He is close to overcapping his hand, and he does have 4 cards left. But as you were saying before, and as Comcast was saying before as well, the reason War Behemoth is good is because it's draw
not call
inherent in
attention to us.
one single unit. So playing War Behemoth allows you to fill up your hand and get more answers for free without having to try to play to your synergies, without having to try to overdraw, just because it is such a valuable minion on top of being card draw. I think Kenny's in a fantastic spot. The Ao Kuang actually is kind of useful, but I think the Sun Wukong with the extra cleave damage is going to be the likely to play for Kenny, and he might actually have lethal without even needing the Demon Bag.
I think something that is good for people to notice is that overdrawing is not the end of the world. Just assume that the cards you are not drawing at this point are at the bottom of your deck, and that you wouldn't have drawn them anyway unless you hit fatigue.
Absolutely. Here's lethal. Kenny put on the aggression early and kind of stuck with it. Had that plan stopped for a couple of turns, but Eagle form, best Sun Wukong form. Gotta say it. Like,
Yeah,
Eagle
definitely.
Eagle form just allows for so many plays, so many surprise plays, such as this, allowing you to move valuable cards in positions they normally wouldn't be able to reach. And it's just so good. Eagle form is fantastic. Kenny takes game 1 over Icheng. We'll be bringing you game 2 in just a minute. Kenny's going to have to switch off Nuwa. Icheng got a decision of his own to make. We'll see what happens after these breaks. Welcome back, everybody. Game 2 of Grand Finals. My name's Strixus. I'm still here with Leonis, and we're still bringing you Kenny versus
Best of luck.
Ichang, two of the stronger players in the scene right now. Ichang, of course, making a top vive for DreamHack Valencia. Kenny also in that group as well, and consistently making top 8s, top 4s in tournaments. We're going to see how this one plays out. We've got a Mayan versus Nuwa matchup. How do you like this matchup, Leonis?
It really depends on the Nuwa deck. I think if you run 2 Rolling Thunders like I am, then this is a very good matchup because you can always clear the zombies before they grow into 4/4s or even 7/7s. On the other hand, if you don't have any AoE, it's really tough. In this situation, Kenneth has used 2 Blood Bonds to kill 2 Imperial soldiers of Ichang. He's really afraid of that early game, which I understand because of course Mayan shines in the late game with the DK and the Tempest wings. But on the other hand, it's pretty expensive. I'd rather keep the Blood Bond for better targets.
I generally would too. I think I agree with your line of thinking, but
Know your
Kenny wants to get those
Know
cards off the board
yourself,
before they
and
snowball,
victory
which is
will be
generally
assured.
fine. And
Unless you're
actually,
fighting
Kenny's
the
got
dragon.
some very interesting lines. It looks like a Decay. Decay is going to come out onto the Alquang. I really like getting rid of that card before it can do its damage because Alquang can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I was saying that the Mayan is usually the slower deck, but that War Behemoth changes everything. It's such
Yeah.
a giant, well, it's not a beast, but it's a giant minion with 5 attack, and with only 25 HP on your stone, it hits like a truck. Again, we see Ichang having a very weird hand with a lot of small or tiny spells. And yeah, this Guan Yu wipes the small minions, but is it enough to clear the War Behemoth? No, it's not.
No, and War Behemoth now gets to trade into the Guan Yu for free, draw Kenny yet
Kenny.
another card, or push Stone. I mean,
Smork.
Kenny could just push Stone and drop Ichang to 5 here.
Yeah,
with
you
the
have a
Blade
Blade
Master.
Master, just smork it.
No,
don't
he's gonna
get
do
it.
the Guan Yu, which is fine. You know, now he drew a Barter Soul, which once Kenny starts clearing out his hand a little bit more, Barter Soul's a fantastic card. Also, no, Ichang's running a very, very old school Nuwa list. He's got Emperor's Prize in his deck. That's not a card you see on this list anymore because you're not running as many units. You're not getting as much value from Emperor's Prize. This is almost like a CB14 style list.
And even though Kenneth is winning here, pretty obviously, I think he made a misplay not going on the stone last turn. He would have won by now. Of course, he couldn't have predicted that he would draw the Fire Giant, but the chance of him getting the 3-4 damage that he needed was so very large.
Yeah.
So yeah, he likes to overtrade a bit, I think. On the other hand, we see Ichang making a desperate attempt to come back, but this was a very short game that Kenneth is winning.
Oh my gosh. Kenny blights the Imperial Archer, Barter Souls it. War Behemoth in the hand, not quite on the board, but War Behemoth was a very integral part to this game. Kenny got his 100 credits, was able to siege down the stone with the help of his War Behemoth, and he just used a couple of big titans to finish this game off. Kenny 2-0 over Ichang very quickly in our grand finals.
I can never cast long games, apparently.
Yeah.
But it was even though there were quick matches, I think these were very matches played by intelligent players. They knew what they were doing. Ichang maybe not having the most optimized deck, and maybe that's what he was punished for. But on the other hand, he came all the way to the final, so he must have done something right.
Absolutely. Ichang, a very, very strong player mechanically. Like you said, I'm not 100% sure about his deck list choices. This list definitely felt a little outdated compared to some of the new cards running around the streets. But in the end, it didn't really matter all too much because Kenny was able to just rush down Ichang. The control list becomes the aggressor, and Kenny takes Weekly Cup number 20. That's going to be it for us on the desk from Strixus, Leonis, Comcast, Adonis, Illy, and Jithens out in the back. That's going to be it for all of us. Thank you all for coming out. We will be seeing you for ESL early next week, I believe. I think on Monday.
Tomorrow is the first cup.
Tomorrow's the when it plays out. So sign
Okay.
up for ESL tomorrow, and I believe it'll be broadcasted on Monday. If you are interested in playing in some more Hand of the Gods action and you want to try to get a little piece of that pie for yourself as well, we'll be seeing many of these players tomorrow, and you'll be seeing some of us as well potentially on the caster's desk for that as well. So we will see you then. Until then, have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend, and enjoy Hand of the Gods. Have a good one, everyone.